Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Tina Golick and I am a rad mom, as most of you are. If you don't know what that means, it means that I am the parent of a child with reactive attachment disorder. And as you may have noticed, the title of this video is a little bit different. And first off, I'd like to start by saying, if you have related or thought about reactive attachment disorder and its relation to a zombie apocalypse, and that sounds a little strange, make sure and give this video a thumbs up, and that will let me know. And on that note, if you have been watching and haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you do like these videos and never think to actually hit that like button, please hit the like button. It does nothing for my ego, but it does cause YouTube to suggest this video to other viewers. So if you find these videos helpful, please make sure and hit those like buttons. Recently, I had been talking with my stepdaughter's biological mother, and she made sure to tell me that my stepdaughter, who does not live here any longer, and for those of you who maybe just stumbled across this video and don't know, she just turned 17, no longer lives here because she had been poisoning us. But her biological mom did make sure to tell me that Little Radish watches every single one of my videos on both channels, and before she even watches the video, she makes sure to hit that unlike button every time. She does not like me educating people on reactive attachment disorder. She doesn't want people to know about it. So on that note, please make sure and hit that like button. In my previous video, I do have a clip of her talking about it very openly, very matter-of-factly, with no remorse whatsoever. It wasn't just us that she had poisoned, it was 2 other adults and 2 two-year-olds. But that's not normal things that people do. It is something that people do who are severely disturbed. And that leads me into this video's topic, a zombie apocalypse. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, a movie for Hollywood. When Adam and Eve were on this planet, they were in a garden, and God told them, you can eat of any tree, you can eat anything you want, but do not eat from this tree.
God said, you shall not eat of the fruit tree that is in the middle of the garden, nor shall you touch it, or you shall die.
You will not die, for God knows when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God.
But God told them, don't eat of this tree or you will die. And the serpent came and deceived them and said, did God tell you that you would die? Really die? And they ate of the tree. They ate the fruit of the tree. And they did not physically die. So he told them a partial truth, that they would not physically die, but they spiritually died. That's the day they spiritually died. That death continued through each generation. That spiritual death was passed down, just like all of or other traits that we pass on to our children. That spiritual death was passed down through each generation, through the Old Testament, all of the Old Testament, until Jesus came. And he, just to make this simple, he died. Actually, today is Black Friday, so this is the perfect day to be talking about this, and I did not plan that. This is just coincidence, which there is no coincidence with God. He died and took our place and rose again on the third day, which is Sunday, Easter. He rose again and created a way for us to have spiritual life. And by accepting him and what he did for us, our spirit is reborn. So if you've ever heard the phrase born again, that's what that means. Your spirit is born again. That are lost, those that have not accepted Jesus as their Savior, are spiritually dead. But all through the Bible, it tells us that, and if you'd like the verses for this, I didn't happen to write those down, but if you would like those verses, just let me know in the comments below and I will get those verses to you. But it all through the Old and New Testament, it says multiple different times that those who have not accepted that free gift, all we have to do is believe and accept Jesus as our Savior, they are still spiritually dead. All through the Old and New Testament, it says that those that are still lost in sin are dead, spiritually dead, but still alive. They're the living dead, so to speak. But those who have accepted Jesus have become alive and been reborn, so to speak. You've probably already started to put together, where I got this zombie apocalypse. If not, I'd like to go through with you what exactly a zombie apocalypse is. And according to Wikipedia, it is a widespread rise of zombies that are hostile to human life, and they engage in a general assault against civilization. And that would be civilized people living in harmony.
Broadcast system in the greater Milwaukee area. If you live in Racine County, there is no information at this time. Please stay inside and lock all doors and windows.
So what exactly is a zombie and what are their characteristics? Looking up in Wikipedia, this is just what Wikipedia has said, that from a distance, you can't tell. They appear to be a living person. But when you get close enough, you can tell there's something not right. They are dead, but display signs of being alive. From a distance, you can't tell. They appear to be living. It's mating season for the geese, and they only come in the spring, and we've got a little island out here. We're still in the middle of our remodel, so that's why I'm doing this video here out on my deck. So please enjoy the sounds of nature. Anyway, where was I? Zombies prey on the living, and they actually feed off of them. Now, I just want to point out really quick, how many times have you heard me say that rad kids actually feed off of our emotions? They feed off of it because they don't feel it. So when the rad child feeds off of your feelings and your emotions, they want to see those emotions. They like to be in a crowded room with tons of people at a wedding, at a church ceremony, at holidays. They like to be in that crowd of people because it's electrifying with emotion, and it's because they don't have that light themselves. They don't have those feelings and emotions themselves. So they feed off of other people's emotions. It fuels them. They can't recognize any of those things within themselves, so they actually create drama, they create chaos to get a rise out of you, to get a reaction so they can feed off of you. It's usually humans, but Wikipedia added that it's also animals. You know, as I was writing that down, it just kind of popped in my head. That's on the list of symptoms of rad, that they often are hurtful or even kill animals. My daughter had killed 2 pets, so they have no feelings or empathy, and victims may even become zombies themselves. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know what your experience has been with respite or treatment centers, but have you noticed, not all, I won't say all by any means, but there are some people who provide respite or treatment centers, and I'm speaking from experience. The treatment center that we had my daughter in for 2 years, that woman was the most controlling, and that was in Sacramento. And if you want to know exactly where, message me and I would be happy to tell you. She was very controlling, and actually we suspected that maybe she was rad herself. Push-pull game and the triangulation. At first we thought my daughter was making it up, how she would say, oh, she's saying this about you or saying that about you. She would basically talk bad about us to our daughter and talk bad about our daughter to us. At first we just thought that it was our daughter trying to triangulate. But then later, as time went on, I mean, there was always little clues along the way. But as time went on, I had read emails, I had read Facebook messages, and yeah, maybe it's all of those years of working with rad kids. You start to feel a little crazy. Yeah, it's because you're starting to go a little crazy. You may be becoming a zombie yourself. I know that sounds weird, but this is our topic. So okay, Wikipedia goes on to say, in the event of an apocalypse, that would be characterized by an outbreak becoming so widespread that it becomes a crisis. How many of you would agree with me that rad is an epidemic? It is a modern day plague on society. It becomes a crisis. It swamps law enforcement, the military, healthcare systems, and leads to a panicked collapse of civil society. And only isolated pockets of survivors will remain. It sounds like the perfect Hollywood movie. Truly, it does. And if anybody gets the bright idea to make a movie out of this, please contact me. I would love to help. Okay, and now I'd like to take you through a couple of Bible verses that really stood out to me when my husband and I started talking about this. And how this all came about is, we're obviously Christian. My husband is one of those people who gets up at 4 a.m. and he goes out into his little prayer closet, and it's an actual little tiny closet sized room off of our deck. that he built for that purpose, and he prays and he reads his Bible and he spends his first 2 hours of the day with the Lord every single day. And I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 6 months or so ago, he had went out there, and I don't remember everything that he had told me about it, other than he was out there praying and reading, and it came to his mind the words zombie apocalypse. And he said at first he thought, what on earth? He must have seen a video. He must have read something somewhere. Why would that come to his mind? And all of these Bible verses started coming to him, and just kind of everything that he was reading and even his prayers had kind of led to that. And basically the Lord was really just showing him, yes, this is something that Hollywood has really fabricated and, blown up to make money off of. But the reality of it, spiritually, is we could be looking at a zombie apocalypse, looking at the state of mind and the fact that the lost are dead. They are the living dead. So I'd like to take you through some Bible verses, and I'm going to start with Galatians 5:15, and it says, if you bite and devour one another, beware of destroying one another. Proverbs 30:14 says, there is a generation whose teeth are as swords to devour the afflicted. Psalms 37:12 says, the wicked plots against the just and gnash their teeth against them. And I even looked up the actual definition of the word gnash, because it's a King James version. I'm a King James girl myself. But I really wanted the full understanding of that word. So I looked it up, and it says to grind one's teeth, to set on edge, or to bite down in pain, anguish, or anger. Okay, so all of these verses, and there's many more verses, many more. I've literally just wrote down a couple. Clearly they are talking about our words. It's not talking about literally biting each other. This is talking about words. And isn't that a weapon of reactive attachment disorder? They tell lies about you, they slander you, they make false allegations, they play head games, they're going after your mind. They literally try to make you feel crazy, and you do start feeling crazy. Wait a minute, did I really say that? Wait a minute, maybe I really am the problem. Maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that, because they're always turning it on you. And they even, with the triangulation, coerce other people into blaming you. It's all head games. And going back to the zombie thing, isn't that what zombies do? They feed off of the brains of the living, the mind. It's what a parallel that is. It's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing. It's a spiritual thing. There's multiple verses, like I said. And there's also too many verses to even list on slander, gossip, lies, backbiting. Okay, even that word right there, backbiting. What does that mean? It means talking about somebody badly behind their back. It's not literally talking about biting. So we know the language of biting means talking about somebody, attacking them with words. It's an attack with words. Matthew 5:28 says, anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Okay, so we've heard that before. That is just one verse that gives us an example of it's something that's going on within your heart. It's a heart condition. And this could lead me into a whole nother topic of darkness, spiritual darkness, and the Lord uses our spirit as a lamp to search the insides of us. Okay, see, I could very easily go into that, and maybe we'll do another video on spiritual darkness, and what actually constitutes a reprobate mind, because that is when God has completely given up on someone. And there's a verse in Isaiah, just real quick, that talks about God will not even turn away a smoldering reed. And you just think of a candle that's been blown out, that little ember that's still glowing on that wick, just ever so lightly, but it's still there. That much God won't turn away. If there's that much light in you, just that ember that's just very barely showing, God won't turn you away. But if you've crossed that line, how great is that darkness? And if you'd like to see a video on that, let me know. I'd be happy to go through all those verses with you, and we could just talk about that, because I've heard from lots of you. I love talking to all of you, by the way. I love hearing from you. I know that a lot of you worry about where your children are spiritually, so that might be a good topic for us to talk about. Where the cutoff point is, and where God would say, okay, enough, I'm done. 1 John 3:11 through 12 says we should love one another and do not be like Cain. That's what it says. Cain belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. That just says so much. So the reason I pointed these last verses out to you is because I really want to emphasize it's a heart condition. And if God views someone looking at a woman with lust has already committed adultery in his heart, that means when someone is slandering you and telling lies about you, they have already committed murder in their heart. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but that's what it is. So this is just a quick, short version of why we see such a parallel between reactive attachment disorder and a zombie apocalypse. It's everywhere. It's so widespread. And I don't know if you have ever taken the time to really look at the people around you in your life and notice how many of them have childhood trauma. And you can really see it. The more you learn about RAD, the more you can really see that trauma in people all around you. And honestly, with each generation, it's getting more and more. So, like I said, I know this was maybe a very different kind of video, but I do hope that it's caused you to think about it in a more spiritual way. They say that the spiritual is much more real than the physical. And that's because the physical is only temporary. The spiritual is eternal. So that's why it's so much more real. Anyway, I'd like to hear your opinions on this topic. I know it's a little out there, but yeah, I really wanted to talk to you about this today and just kind of throw it out there and see what you think, and I'd love to hear from you. So like I said, my name is Tina Golick. You can find me on Facebook. You can message me, and I would love to talk to you. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye for now.